Well, hello and welcome, all my fellow frugal quilters, sister quilters. Welcome. I'm gonna start putting this in a playlist too. I'm starting to develop all these playlists. I've got a playlist for the Brain Dead Victorian. That's where I started out making a crazy quilt with no plan, and then changed it to include Victorian embroidery. That playlist is up, and let me see, I think I'm about a third of the way through that quilt. Then I've got the cathedral windows, and I made a good start on it. I work on each one for a little while every day. There you are. And I've got to stop myself from doing this, but I've got also the where is it? That other book there. Alice's I always want to say Alice's Restaurant. It's Alice's Wonderland. It's a quilt group, sew along book block of the month group. Here it is, right here. Okay. Now, what I'm going to tell you, this frugal tip, everybody knows what's going on with all these marketing things. You know, you've got these ridiculously expensive templates, some of which are worth buying. The ones, I think, with all the measurements, if you want to figure out your angles, like what angle of a diamond you need for a 6-point star compared to an 8-point star. So, you know, those angles and things, and the curves, if you're going to do a drunkard's path quilt or something like that. Yeah, I think it's worth shelling out a little money for a convenient square measuring ruler with the measurements and the slots and all. Yeah, fine, that's worth the money. But when I look through the marketplace and I see these expensive acrylic templates for simple shapes, here's my budget thing for when you want to do a specific block. Now, as I said, I'm starting this, and the first blocks don't really require anything except simple measurement, you know, simple strips and things like that. That's fine. We can do that without a template. But I have this other book that I picked up, and I'm so glad I did. At first I thought maybe I was being a little silly to pick up 2 quilt books, but the Alice's Wonderland is only one quilt design. I mean, it's a sampler, so you can jump into it to create blocks for other designs, but it's only the one quilt. This book includes it's the Encyclopedia of Classic Quilt Patterns, and it shows the finished entire quilt. Now, what I have been thinking about, because I wanted to do this for some other designs for a long time, I've been wanting to do a mariner's compass. So they show the entire quilt, and this particular one has my attention because I really don't want to do curved sewing at this point. I'm moving slowly from being a wonky brain dead quilter to being more traditional, using, you know, recognizable blocks. So this one, Storm at Sea, it shows up in a lot of books. So I'm not going to worry about copyright violations to show you what I'm doing here. You don't have to go buy expensive supplies and templates. This one has 2 basic parts. It has a simple square within a square, and it's a double square within a square. Okay, but you don't need a template for that. You can just do some straight measurements, right? And then this other one is longer, rectangular rather than square. And there's a number of different ways to come up with that. But the beautiful part of this quilt is you get, if you look carefully at that, let me see what I'm doing here. Whoops, wait a minute. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get this. Here we go. If you look carefully, it looks like there's curves in it. But it's an optical illusion caused by the different sized diamonds as they come together. So I'm starting to work on that. Well, back to the purpose of this video, which is frugal quilting. They show the template. They tell you just to measure out the strips to make the square within a square part. But then they show the template that you can trace the actual template. And whenever you have a book with a template, wax paper, simple, inexpensive, grocery store wax paper is where you trace your template. And then from here, if you're going to do something with English paper piecing, where you're going to really use the template, then you'd simply bring this wax paper to some cardstock, cardboard, stiffer paper, lay it down, and cut it out. You can put a sheet of carbon paper under it, or you can simply, actually, if you have cardstock that you're going to use for English paper piecing, all you need to do is take the blunt size of a yarn needle, the blunt end, and trace it over the line, bearing down into the cardstock, and you will get an indented line. And then you can go into that with a pencil or marker to bring it out so you can see it, and then you can cut your pieces of paper as you wish. And the wax paper stays in the book for future use. That's one of my frugal quilter tips of the day. You've probably got a bunch of these in your sewing box, so you don't have to go out and buy a special tool or gadget. Wax paper has a million uses in the kitchen. You don't have to go out and buy special anything. Cardstock, actually, I would use the craft paper, because if you're like me and you're using Amazon, you're getting tons of that brown paper that they're packing things with, and I'm so glad they're using that now instead of styrofoam. Because one of the things, besides, there's a million uses for that brown paper. And one of the uses would be to cut paper templates out of it, or you can use freezer paper. Trace this onto freezer paper so that you don't have to pull the page, you don't have to rip the page out of the book. Once you put it onto the wax paper, it's portable. Take your freezer paper, put this on it, get your freezer paper templates and iron them to the cloth, because they have that tackiness, and then you can just pull them off the cloth later. People do that with foundation paper piecing, where you're actually going to sew through the paper. They use freezer paper for that. I haven't done it, because I'm not into that. But also, just for having the pattern on the cloth, you could do it that way. And another thing, well, that's really enough for now. So I just wanted to put this little tip out there that foundation, or not foundation, but wax paper, the quilter's friend. And then one of these books like this, you'll have it for years and years to experiment with and use and reuse. Let me put this back in where it belongs. And that's the other thing. The wax paper can just stay in your book to mark your place. Frugal quilting. That's one of the, I got some good things coming up too. Batting. If you want real cotton or real woolen batting, that's not cheap. I'm not going to go into that now. But that's one of the things I'll be coming up with. So mark this playlist. I'm making a playlist for frugal quilting. And when you're looking at this, not only help me out by giving me a like and a thumbs up and a, subscribe and share this out, but also look underneath and where it says save, hit that, and then the whole playlist. No, if you hit the individual video to save, you could make your own playlist and then include other people's videos in that Frugal Quilter playlist. But if you go to my playlist, go to my channel, look up the playlist, see Frugal Quilter, and then hit save on that, that will add that list to your page so that anytime you want to see what, and it'll tell you if there's been new additions to mine. So you don't have to watch the rest of my channel if you don't want to, especially since I do occasionally upset people when I go off on rants. And right now I'm probably upsetting the people who are heavy into the gadget of the week selling market, and I don't begrudge anybody that. And a lot of those gadgets really are useful if you are, if you just feel the need to skip things and do things that way, fine. Like I said, the ones with all the measurements on them, I think those are great. But in general, I think we have to remember that quilting was always an important part of getting a beautiful life out of limited resources and making the most out of a little. So that's my frugal quilt tip of the day. Thank you for showing up. Denise Matteau, over and out.